are listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio, hosted by Steve Jenny and his satanic assistant, Alex Rondini, both of whom can't go into churches without vomiting.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro to the Mindset Podcast, a weekly attempt to open eyes and shedding light on what's really going on in the world, all done by ripping apart the media madness that masquerades as news. Join me, Gareth Davis, every Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting services such as iTunes, Stitcher, and so on. Or you can go directly to the main Mindset website. That's www.mindsetcentral.com. Check out the Mindset Podcast. Bring your curiosity, your opinions, and a sense of humor. And remember that some worldviews are stranger than others.
You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex. You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
And we're live, folks.
We're live.
We're live.
We're live.
welcome, and a bonus show. Wow,
Impromptu.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
What? It's not a bonus show.
It is a bonus show. That's why I labeled it 19.5.
19.5. Why 19.5? Why can't it be 20?
Just because that's not the regular scheduled program.
So what?
And because of the title. Did you tell Richard the title?
When did we ever have a regular scheduled?
Richard, did Steve tell you the name of the title?
What's the name of the title?
It says Putting Porn Back into the Paranormal.
Oh yeah, that's why I didn't share it.
Yeah. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know what you guys are doing, but like 6 feet apart, eh?
Yeah.
well, we got
judging by the screen here I'm looking at, you and Alex are standing too close to each other.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get my mask. We'll be okay.
Wait a sec. I thought you had it. No. Oh, that's Alex. Alex. Wait a sec. I'm confused. Who's who here?
I don't know.
I want to. Hey, thank you, Richard, for coming on. It's been a long time, man.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's
anytime.
Always great to have you on, and well, of course, with this wonderful situation that we're all under. Things have sort of changed. The landscape has changed, for everybody in every facet of life, really. And the paranormal obviously is no different. As paranormal as COVID is, it's still warping the paranormal, or at least how we sort of. Or we have been able to sort of look at it, if you will.
Right.
And let me ask you, since this is all taken off, and things have changed, the landscape has changed. What have you noticed about your sort of experience within the paranormal? Because obviously you've been, involved with the paranormal for 40 odd years, whatever.
Right.
How are things changed that you've noticed?
Well, I'm getting more emails, more calls for help. Actually, more than usual.
Yeah.
It's a higher number, and I don't think there's more activity. I just think the routines change, and people are staying home more. They're noticing things. You get up, you go to work. You're busy, you come home, you're tired, you just, but now staying at home, isolating and these lockdowns, I think you're noticing more activity. So things are starting to pile up. And, with these lockdowns and all these restrictions, you can't get out to help. You just can't go and investigate. That's risky. You're going to bring a team into a person's house. It's not a good idea. So it's busier.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. But on the investigative end, it's dead. There's nothing going on. I mean, people are breaking rules and going to do it, but it's a risk. You're taking that risk, right?
We should break out the anti-COVID team, right? The anti-COVID team. The anti-COVID team. So what do you think? Okay, so do you think there's been an increase then of overall activity in terms of people noticing and reporting and stuff like that?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I'm getting inundated with emails. People are asking me my advice. What should I do? Can you come out and look? Which I can't, but so I try to give them the best advice I can depending on their situation, and hopefully they can ride it out whenever we get through this mess.
I mean, what are you telling people about? Like, what's the advice that you're giving people since you can't go out and look at things firsthand?
Yeah, well, it really depends on the situation, what they're recording and what they're reporting their experiences are. But a lot of it's the same. Don't engage. You know, don't engage these things. They're trying to tempt you for a reason, whether it's they're trying to scare you or making noises or. So don't engage. Don't talk to them. Don't acknowledge their existence. Certainly don't make threats, because game on when you just start doing that stuff. Don't start burning sage all over the place. Don't do any of that stuff. Well, what I do recommend is keep a logbook. Date, times, when these things occur, what type of an occurrence, and then that gives me an idea of looking for trends and time. This just happened at a specific time, or what kind of trending does it do? Is it trying to communicate, or is it just trying to scare the person? So that kind of information is very helpful.
I mean,
really, yeah,
sorry. Let reiterate. For those who may not know who Richard Palmisano is, just give them a quick sort of background of your experience within the paranormal, if not more.
Well, I'm just an old guy that looks at ghosts. But
Yeah.
I started my research team in 1979. It's called the Searcher Group. We have a website, searchergroup.ca. So I've been doing this 40 plus years. I've written 5 books on the subject. I've been featured in various magazines and Reader's Digest and stuff like that. I'm more of as much as an investigator I am, I'm a theorist. So I take field data and I look at it and I try and build a theory on what's happening. But theory's okay, but what I try to do is build a theory you can test in the field, because that's the only way to do things. Anybody can make up a theory, but it's being able to test that theory. So you can go do it, or Alex can go do it, and hopefully we start getting the same results. And that's how we progress. That's how we make advancements. It's sort of like writing a paper that's peer-reviewed, right? So.
I mean, it must be pretty simple if Alex can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, when I write theory, I try and make it simple. Yes.
Yeah. What is that? Do it yourself? Do it yourself, Alex.
Yeah.
This is what I got to say to that.
Oh, of course. Of course. Yeah. So, okay. Now, the writing bit. Do you have something on the go, or has this given you time to sort of plan out a new offering, book, whatever?
Well, yeah. Well, you know me. I've got 2 books completed. Manuscripts are sitting on the desks of 2 different publishing houses. I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. That's another problem with the pandemic. Nobody's working anymore. So one book was submitted back in October. The other one, believe it or not, was submitted last March. Still waiting. Yeah. So still waiting to hear from these publishing houses. I'm working on 3 new books, and I just sent off. I just wrote a paper on a theory, and I just sent that off to a woman I know. She's a doctor in parapsychology in the UK. So she's going to review that theory for me, which is I'm very pleased that she's doing that for me. And hopefully, I don't know where that's going to go, but I'm hopeful that it'll do something.
Well, you know me now. Now you've made me curious. Is this something that you can talk a little bit about?
Not yet. The thing is, well, I examine how basically emotion and memory influences ghostly activity.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get too much into it because today, nobody comes up with original stuff anymore. It's all plagiarized.
Yeah.
Right? If I say something on social media, I end up reading what I said 4 or 5 times on somebody else's post.
Yeah, absolutely.
With their name on it, of course.
Yeah.
It happens to me all the time. And it's not just people out there like you and I.
Hmm.
It's big people, right? Like The Simpsons took my work and used it, and I never got credit for it.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did a theory on memory matrix, memory
Yeah.
bubbles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and The Simpsons did an entire program about it, and I never got any credit whatsoever, not even a mention. And
Wow.
that theory came out a full year before their episode. So, and they used it by name. They weren't even sneaky about it. They used it by name and just called it what it was. And that's just the way. But who's going to bother? Some little old Canadian guy, and he's not going to bother with The Simpsons and Fox Network.
Oh, they're always making fun of Canadians, though. Come on.
Of course.
It's another in the old eye there.
Well, you always make fun of people who you want to be just like, because
Yeah.
they have a failing education system, so they're always coming up here and either stealing our doctors, nurses, or actors, because they don't have anything going on down there, even though they got 10 times the amount.
Come on, you're telling me that the last 4 years wasn't a good acting job, or what?
I can't get into
I'm
it.
not getting it.
Can't get it. I hate that guy. I will say openly on the mic, if I had a mic. I don't have all the fancy stuff you got, but I hated that guy. But there were some things he did that I respected, and people don't see that because people are too close. You got to really step back and have a look at the giant picture before you make an assumption. But I really don't want to get into the Trump situation. I respect some of the things he did, but other things he did were was like a dumpster fire.
Well, here you go. Let's. Do you think Biden will open up things for paranormal investigators? I mean, that's come on.
I mean, he must be seeing all kinds of stuff at the White House, because the White House is haunted.
Exactly.
And he's got one foot in the grave already. So they say when you're almost near death, you're going to see a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
He's probably all freaked out. His Aunt Agnes probably serving him tea right now, but and she's been dead for 25 years.
So okay, so what have you? So you haven't been doing any investigations?
No.
Just pure research right now.
Research and writing. Yep, that's it. Research and writing. No investigative work. It's it's too risky. I've had some call-outs, and some of these people, they have families or they're elderly, and I can't imagine you go there and I couldn't live with myself if I went there and somebody got infected with something, and so it's better to say no and try and do what you can for them, but take that risk and jeopardize somebody's health.
Mm-hmm.
What about locations that are like not houses but like a city hall, like Peter Rose wrote a book about all those haunted city halls. So what about scenarios like that? Would you guys still be able to go out to those kind of scenarios?
We could. Again, you want to get a team together and start, investigating and sharing a pizza, and it's still not a good idea.
Yeah,
I'd like to do it. I mean, if you kept it small, maybe 1-2 people. I don't suggest you go by yourself, but maybe 2 people. But even still, what's the point? You need your team. You need to do it properly.
Yeah. And just the thought that and not saying it would happen, but you never know. I mean, you got to take precautions.
I mean, don't despair. I mean, we're going to get through this eventually, I hope.
Yeah.
Maybe 2023 we should be in the clear. This year is going to be right off, and who knows what next year's going to be like. But down the road somewhere, we're gonna come out of this, I think. And so now's the time, I think, is to start making those connections, start looking at places you want to investigate, like Alex mentioned, those empty places or government-owned properties or privately owned properties, and reaching out, making those contacts, making arrangements for in the future, and setting up those investigations. So it's do the legwork now, and then you've got all these things lined up.
So how do you think things will change when things open back up? How do you think things? What can you see changing?
The world is going to change, my friend.
Well, yeah, sure, the world, but I mean, paranormal investigating itself.
I was talking to my brother about this actually this morning. He says that, everybody, 10 years ago was hockey cards, and now it's ghost investigations. I think that the majority are going to move on. He thinks they're going to move on to treasure hunting, because of the Curse of Oak Island and all these new shows coming out. So you're going to see people turning in their Gauss meters and buying metal detectors and going out to historic properties and looking for treasure. So who knows what the next trend is, but you know how I feel. The paranormal field right now is a mess. It's a bloody mess. I mean,
it's been a mess for a while, but more so than ever.
And that's TV. And
yeah.
It's TV's made it into some ridiculous monster. It's everything's demons, and you can solve these problems in under 40 minutes. And, there's no consequences. It's a funny thing. But,
those damn demons, they don't want to go away. They're pesky.
They are pesky. Yeah.
That's why we have Dr. Demon Gord on our side, because he takes care of them for us.
Does he?
Yes, he does.
Oh, just like Alex is a ghost deterrent.
Yeah.
Gord is a demon deterrent.
Is he?
He scares them off with his giant KY tub.
KY tub. Oh my god. KY tub. Oh my god.
It's a good guy to have in your Rolodex. There you go.
See, Gord's not here to, defend himself, so I gotta take the cheap shots when I can.
Yeah. Like he's ever gonna watch it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's watching right now. Actually, he just told Alex to shut up. No, I'm just kidding. Well, what advice would you give to folks that are looking? Like I've been off work for 8 months or something, and I've been doing all this research, and I'd really like to go out there and investigate. And the research had nothing to do with TV. They weren't watching any TV shows. They were reading books, and they're reading articles online or whatever. And they're truly interested in wanting to know more about, what's going on, as opposed to, I want to be on TV.
These are the people I like to talk to. These are the people I want to meet. Anybody that reads a book, I'm into. I'll talk to them any time of the day or night, actually. Well, you, for example, I don't understand why you haven't read the book yet.
Oh,
you should have enough data. What are you waiting for? You're going to go for the longest investigation in the history, post-investigation. You're going to be 75, and you're going to put pen to paper, and you're going to, I remember when the place was first built.
It's like the never-ending story,
last
Richard.
nail in there, and then
I know. I seriously got to kick myself in the butt to get that thing done.
You're saying you're bored. You're sitting around and you're going stir crazy, and yet.
Well, I wish I could say that, but I've been working my butt off, but more than anything, and it last year was just insane. I don't think I've worked as much in my life as I did last year. No, and this year, so far, it's pretty much a continuation. But I wish I had time off to say, seriously, get this sucker done.
Yeah.
I mean, the notes are there. I mean, I have notes. It's just a matter of formulating them. You know how it goes.
Yeah, I know how it goes, but you got to start somewhere. And I'm not saying sit down and write the book.
Yeah, you are. You just told me.
Take an hour, a couple hours a week.
Yeah.
and just sit down and don't even start from the beginning. Just you have a thought, do a chapter or half a chapter or a thought, and then put it aside and grow it from there. And that's eventually you're going to go, wow, and then you're going to get so excited because now you got 70 pages and you're going to go, oh, this is going good, and then next thing you know, it's done. But it's never done.
No, it's never done because
even when the book goes off to the publishing house.
Oh shit, I forgot.
Oh man, I should have put that in there.
Oh, part 2.
Yeah.
The sequel. The sequel.
Yeah. Publishers hate that.
Oh yeah. Well, they might hate it, but come on, you got to get the second part in there.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the sales of the first one.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, do these things ever become bestsellers though? Realistically,
ghost books? No.
No.
Never
because there's so many of them out there, right?
Well, now you've got self-publishing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get it. A publishing house thinks it's trash, so I got to take a few grand and publish it anyways. So, so now that's a big problem too. In my personal opinion, it's a problem. A lot of books might not be good. They might not be worthy. Not to say the publishing house knows they are sort of the experts, but not in every case. I mean, they might reject a guy like Stephen King, which he was rejected plenty of times before he became Stephen King. But if you can't get it through the publishing house, there's more than one. There's thousands of them, right? You keep going, right? You just keep trying and trying and trying. The last resort is to go self-publish.
They should come up with they should come up with a new sort of angle for books called real-time books.
Well, they do. It's called print on demand.
Yeah, print on demand, but by then it's old news.
Yeah.
But we should have something about, look, I can read your mind. I'm reading your book right now. No.
Yeah.
Wait, you're not
scary.
You're not writing fast enough. Hurry up. Come on. I'm getting bored here.
Well, I don't know. Like, I know we're not that old, but I remember hearing about the old serials on serial shows back in the day, right? You go to the theater and they would have they play an episode.
Yeah.
Right, a 10-minute episode. They used to call them serials. So they would play that 10-minute episode, and then they play a couple of them, and then they play the movie.
Yeah.
Well, you could do that online. You could do it. Write the book ahead of time, and then release a chapter every week or every 3 days, right? And grow an audience.
Yeah, you could do. Yeah, a serial would be good. I mean, I remember a while ago I was doing something similar on when Instagram first came out.
Mm-hmm.
Before Facebook got its filthy fingers on it.
Right.
What I was doing was I'd post a picture. And with that picture, I would give a story. I would write a part, usually in 7-8 parts, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, part one, I'd write about that picture.
Right.
And each picture would be obviously the same location or the same scenario, but and it was interesting to see how many people. I used to call it the zombie stream. And basically, it was interesting to see people. Oh man, can you tag me? I want to read part 2. Make sure you tag me. And I had so many people going, tag me. I want to read the next part.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I said, well, maybe I should start making a blog on this. I never did, but I made a blog and I started the blog and it just didn't. It wasn't the same. It didn't head off the same way as it did on Instagram.
Right.
But it's interesting to, different little takes on how to get that story out, and
right.
Get people intrigued by it and wanting to read more. It's really intriguing how to do that.
Oh, it is. See, the problem I have with that,
yeah,
me, is that's a lot of work.
I know
For a
that's a
writer,
lot.
for a writer to do that for nothing, I'm not motivated. Right? I want to get the book out. I want to make some money because the investigation work, there's really everything's out of pocket when I do investigative work.
Yeah.
So the only money I really have to buy some equipment, pay for the gas, do the thing, is the money from the book. And being a Canadian writer on ghosts, there isn't a whole lot of money. So, you know what I mean?
Oh,
so
yeah.
that money starts out of other things, right? So, you know, I'm not gonna have that special pizza Friday night because Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta pick and choose.
Well, yeah, exactly. Um, sorry, go ahead.
What's going on with Alex here? He's starting to
I-
look like a board.
He's looking like a board.
I'm just listening to you guys just ramble on here.
Well, then help us ramble on.
How can I? There hasn't
What
been
do
a
you
few
mean,
seconds of space.
Oh, there's been. What are you talking about?
Sure.
There's plenty of opportunity to jump in.
That's what I got to say.
See, there. That's the extent of his his jumping in.
Good one.
I know.
Good one.
Yeah. No, I was just curious about all the stuff you were talking about, the writing part. It is difficult to begin with, to be a writer, period, a published writer, rather. But it's true, because I remember years ago, my friend Frank and I went down to the States, to Chicago, to meet an author of vampire novels that I was reading back in the day, because he had agreed to meet with us in person, not at some event. And even he said the same thing. I mean, when I asked him the question, he goes, can you make a living off of this stuff? And he goes, think of it more as a supplemental. I mean, I still work full time, and this is supplemental income. The only way you can make a living off of this is if you get to the status of Stephen King, Anne Rice at the time. And that's very difficult to do. So if you're pinning your hopes on making a living off of writing, think again.
Yeah, it's really tough, man. Really tough, and that's what's frustrating now. Like I said, I've got one manuscript sitting on a publisher's desk since March. Like, where is this guy? I just emailed him again this morning. Like, where are you? I haven't heard anything. The other one from October, I understand. They told me probably won't hear until February, so that's fine. I understand it. You know, they were clear. So, and that one's fiction. That's my first attempt at fiction. And it's a ghost story. I wanted to see how my mind would work if I got to use my imagination and create a ghost story. So, I think it'll be good. Hopefully they like it. Otherwise, I might have to self-publish.
Is there something else that you'd like to write about that you haven't written about yet? Is there a subject that you've been wanting to write about that you haven't gotten to it yet?
Yeah, actually, I'd like to. I've got tons of files, lots of notes on, sort of the ancient alien type thing.
Okay.
You know, where we originated from, how we got here, in the sort of untold history of the humankind. I'd like to do that book. I really would. But I think I'm not there yet. So maybe down the road when I get older.
When you get older.
So is this like a nonfiction or a fiction?
I would base it on nonfiction, based on the information that I've acquired over the years and tucked away. I would say it's nonfiction. But it's how to, and that's the problem. It's how to have it delivered, right? Do I do it in a fiction way, or do I do it in a nonfiction way? And that's sort of the problem I have, right? Because to be honest, there's more money in fiction. If you can break into the fiction end of things, then you're going to be making better money. Nonfiction, it's there's just no money in it.
Well, it's more of a niche. Nonfiction is more of a niche because you're talking about people who either believe or don't believe whatever you're espousing, right? So if it's paranormal, ancient aliens, whatever the topic may be, there isn't a lot of crossover between those genres. So people in the paranormal, for example, don't necessarily cross over to ancient aliens and vice versa. You may have a couple, but for the most part, they'll stick to one or the other, right? Whereas fiction...
But even so...
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it's like fiction, unless... I mean, you can kind of make the same argument in a sense, but I find that when it comes to fictional books, whether it's science fiction or horror or whatever, you have a different gamut. Like, I mean, I predominantly like horror, vampire books, but I'll read mysteries and thrillers and suspense and all that kind of stuff too, and even science fiction. I have a couple of books in science fiction as well, right? So there's a little bit more of a crossover.
Right. Yeah. What do you got there?
Well, let's face it too. I mean, there really hasn't been anything revolutionary when it comes to the paranormal for quite a long time, though. Too. Let's face it.
Well, you haven't. If this guy would publish my book, I think you would find it revolutionary, because things went on in that place that, and this is no easy thing to say because I've been around a long time. I've been doing this a long time. Things happened there that I've never seen before. Things happened there that I couldn't even comprehend. Mm-hmm. So for me to say that, and I'm pretty cued in when it comes to the paranormal. I've been around. I've done, I don't know how many investigations, how many hours in the field, how much research I've done, how many books I've read. And there's things I've seen that I didn't even believe were possible. So it really messed up my mind. And it was one of those investigations that I was, the family shut the place down and fled. They just left. It was a dream home. They just shut it down. They just built it, and they left. And I was sort of glad it was over. That was it. I didn't have to go back there because I didn't know what I was getting into, and I didn't know what the consequences were going to be.
So what was what happened? Is the place still there, or?
The place is still there. My assistant goes by there quite often, and he says the lights are always on. Everything's going. So the activity's still going on, but it's disturbing. And I hate to do it, but there was a demonic entity involved in this, but not in the sense that you would think of a demonic entity. This thing really didn't care we were there. It really didn't. Yeah. It was working on some other objective, whatever that objective was. And we were really no consequence to it. Yeah. Come and go, it didn't care. It just didn't care. The other thing I saw, which blew my mind, I have a photograph of it, is a deity. Now we're talking Scottish pagan deity.
Really?
Something in my mind just doesn't comprehend it. It's not something I ever studied. It's not something I would imagine existed. I thought it was just folklore. But I have, and it's because it was a church at one time. The guy that started the church, his wife, they came from Scotland. His wife was, I believe, into this pagan ritual stuff, and I think she conjured it. She brought it from the old world to here for whatever reason. And, that was a blasphemous thing in the church. And I think he found out because she disappears in history. She's not buried anywhere. She never went back to Scotland. She just vanished.
Yeah.
And we've got EVPs of him calling her sorceress. So, when you start piecing it all together, you start seeing what may have occurred there. So I think she conjured this. But, it almost sounds, I can make fun of it now. And I did this with my team as well. It sounds like a joke almost, right? A demon and a deity walking into a barn, just no punchline. But, how would those two get, and it still boggles my mind, how would those two get along, and how could they exist in the same space?
Yeah.
It just boggles my mind. So, and I've said this before, 42 years of doing this, I've only run into 2 demons, and this is one of them. So, but it really didn't harm us. It didn't care we were there, but I've got a great photograph of it.
So, what makes you say, or like, what makes you think or know that this was a demon per se?
Right.
What?
So, so there was this woman. Before we got there, she was concerned about the property, and before and then after we got there, there was she was bringing in different mediums, and trying to find out what's going on. And some of them mentioned that there was something like that on the property. Now, one specifically said there's this gray thing that lives on the property that's trying to look like a child. And it's not a child. And then we brought in our team. And then, of course, we looked at all that data. We brought our own mediums. And some of the things that were happening there, the smell of urine, the smell of feces, some of the activity that was taking place led us to the demonic end of it. Now, don't get me wrong. The place is haunted. There's spirits there, quite a few spirits, actually, which caused me some concern. Why so many spirits were there? Spirits that shouldn't be there. Like a young kid, he got hit by a truck, died on a bicycle a couple of blocks from there. He ended up there. Why there and not go home? Lived in the neighborhood. But why would he end up there? And I think that the final conclusion where I was coming to is, plus the photograph. My team members, Jay McCullough, got this photograph. Fantastic photograph. I sent it off to a medium down in the States, in Massachusetts, to look at it. And she gave me some good information about it. She was amazed at it as well. But it would seem that this thing is somehow building like a trap for spirits. So the property, it's like a facade. It makes the property look welcoming and warm, and a place you want to come to.
Yeah.
And then when you get there, you can't get in. And you've got all these spirits trapped there. Okay. I have no idea why. I don't understand the reason behind it, but it's disturbing. Now, I think I told you, I don't know if I mentioned it. I think I did it on one of your shows. Before I moved here, I was living in Mississauga. And that townhouse I lived in was haunted. It had a spirit of a young kid. The kid would play games. Nothing harmful, nothing scary about this kid. He was just, he'd like to play games and stuff like that, right? Move objects. When I started working out this location, we had visitations, and the team, everybody in the team reported visitations at our houses. Something would come, something would be menacing, something was giving us a warning. You're messing around at my place, I'm going to come here. So I had my visitation, and from that point on, that kid was gone. All of a sudden, that kid was gone. I think he was taking it back.
Um, I have a question, and I want to get your take on that. But we're going to take a break here, Richard. When we come back from the break, I want to ask that question and get your thoughts, pertaining to what you're talking about here right now. Okay.
Sure.
So hold tight, folks. We're going to take a short break here. We'll be right back. Did you hear that? Sounded like a scream.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I heard that.
Was out. You hear that? Guys, over here. Again, that wailing noise. Look, what's that? What's that? There was something fucking moving over there. You see that? You saw that, right? It was fucking white.
Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
This is Keith Age, and you're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Enjoy.
Go ahead. We're
Steve,
live.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for joining us here at Nocturnal Frequency Radio. It was not really radio tonight, but you're catching us a bonus show here on our YouTube channel. And we're joined by our good friend Richard Palmisano, who's an acclaimed writer of many, many books on the paranormal. And if you've not checked out the books, you really do. And they're on Amazon, right, Richard? Or where are they available?
Yeah, Amazon. You can go to Amazon. Chapters will have them, although they're more into candles and pillows now.
Yeah,
But,
no kidding.
I just sent people to Amazon.
But I bought one of your latest books on my Kobo e-reader, so I have one there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The only drawback to that is that I can't get you to sign it next time I see you.
Well, just I'm just glad you're reading it. Most people don't read anymore, so. I remember a girl came. She wanted me to sign her book, or my book, and she actually followed me into a men's bathroom to get me to sign it. And I noticed she stole it from a library. So
you see, Richard. There's a reason why we call you the '70s porn star.
Yeah.
my wife was waiting outside the bathroom. I said, "Oh yeah." I was doing the lectures at the CNE at the time, the ghost lecture.
Yeah.
And I had to go. So I told we walked down to the bathrooms. My wife said, "Okay, I'll be right here." And I said, "Cool." And I went in, and a woman followed me in, and my wife's going, "Watch out!" And like, okay, I'm thinking, "Can you sign this?" Well, I'm sort of busy.
Well, it would have been equally as scary if she stood beside you in the next urinal and was taking a piss.
Pretty much. No, pretty much. Yeah. She's like, "Can you sign this?" I said, "Well, I'm kind of busy."
Can you sign this? I'm busy here too.
I have to ask.
Go ahead.
I have to ask this. Did she offer to hold it while you signed the book?
Well, I was going to ask you next, right? Because one hand for the book, one for the pen. Economics not working out here. Maybe hold this for me. So, and then finally she realized that she was nuts, and went out, waited outside, and when I came out, I noticed she stole the book from the library.
Oh.
Yeah. Thanks for supporting the writer here. Thank you.
Well, you
got great enthusiasm, though.
Well, that's what I was going to say. At least she was enthusiastic about it.
Yeah. I give her kudos for
that. Alex, I was just telling Richard about the Dark Woodlot. He hasn't seen the trailers or anything. Tell Richard a little bit about your experience with the Dark Woodlot so far.
It was a very intriguing place. I mean, I went out there how many times? 3-4 times, I guess, right, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and every time we went out, it was almost like a different feeling. Like the first time I went out there, it was a serene, calm feeling. Nothing really that would arouse any sort of suspicion, I guess, for lack of a better term. And as you know, the winter months came on and it got darker earlier. Obviously, it started feeling more eerie, and things started happening. Like the one time we were there, we all heard it, like audibly heard the knocking sound, but for some reason on Steve's recorders, they weren't captured.
So what he's getting at, there was actually several knocks in the woods.
Yeah.
In the woods, there were several knocks, and basically I have an audio analyzer that analyzes the wavelength of the noises, the separate noises, and everything was there, but the knocking didn't register a wavelength. There was another thing where we were hearing this really blood-curdling, what did I call it? Wail.
Yeah,
wailing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've gone out there several times to try to figure out, okay, what is this? It's not an animal. I've listened to animal cries, all this kind of shit. It doesn't even come close to any of that. And and again, analyzing the wavelength, that the wavelength doesn't. It's not there. There's just not a separate wavelength for the sound. It's the eeriest thing.
Yeah, so it's using a different medium.
Yeah.
Right. So, and you find, like Alex was trying to allude to, I think, you're finding this activity comes at night. So if you went before sundown, where it's still daytime, sun's up, there's no activity. And then at dusk, you're finding a change. Yeah, that's quiet. That's actually common in certain places.
Yeah.
When I did that my third book on the Fusion Center, which is Harding's in Mississauga.
Yeah.
We would go there late in the days, about 4 or 5 o'clock. And it was beautiful. The deers are out there playing. There's, bunny rabbits, people talking. Everything's having a great time. As soon as the sun hit that horizon and to go into night, the deer you'd see them. It was unbelievable that their heads would perk up and then take off. The animals would vanish. The birds would vanish.
Yeah.
And you could feel it like a cloud come over that property.
Yeah.
Everything changes. And I think that's sort of what you're describing as well. So it's almost like there's a time shift. It'd be interesting.
A time shift, dimensional shift, dimensional glitch. I don't know. And I mentioned that. I said, you know what? I honestly think that there's some sort of, glitch or something leaching through. But it's not only that, Richard. There's a lot of physical evidence that I don't want to talk about until it's finished.
Well, I understand that. Yeah.
There's a lot of physical evidence that we've come across that has really made this very intriguing. It's like I'll tell you. In fact, we at one point we found a leg bone that we had to we don't know. We had to get I had to report it to to local authorities. They came out, bagged it for evidence. Still waiting to hear back. So I mean, but we've found a few other things that are sort of okay. We're gonna know. We're gonna try to find out more when we get back and sort of when we're able to go back and investigate and film all this and get it all down, sort of thing.
Was there a house out there?
There was on the lot of the actual whole lot of land, there was 4 farmhouses in total. Right now are all gone. The fields are still there, like the cornfields are still there.
Right.
Actually, one of the houses was a business. It was an old mechanic.
Okay.
In fact, you'll see a lot of the old tires scattered around in the forest.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very unique area, man. Very unique.
You should dig and find out if anything's ever occurred out there. You know, people missing or murders or.
See, there you go. The story is what started it all. A report that I found that started this off, that wanted me to eventually, initially we were just going to make this into a Nocturnal Night Shots episode.
Mm-hmm.
But as things played out, I'm like, okay, this is a full-blown documentary here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. This is like, there's just so much stuff here that I said, you know, I got to make it. I've got to make a documentary here.
Oh, that's great, man. Kudos to you, because I love that stuff. And that's what it is. It's the mystery.
Yeah.
Right? I got to solve this. And it's, it could be, it's part passion, but it's obsession as well. It's a mystery, right? It's like, I gotta figure this out.
Well, it's like I didn't really play too much into the initial report because it was just, there really isn't a lot of information about this place.
Right.
There was an old report. Somebody had reported something years ago. I think it was 1979. Mm-hmm. And okay, do I really read too much into this? But because of what's happened, experience-wise and else, I'm starting to think that maybe the story might have some validity to the overall what's going on there. Mm. So we'll see.
Well, I'm fascinated, man. I want to see what you got. Do me a favor, though.
Yeah.
Do me a favor.
Yeah.
How far away do you park from this area?
Probably right across the street.
Well,
across the road.
Across the road, yeah.
Well, the fields across, like the cars parked across the car.
Yeah.
But then we have to walk. We have to walk into the field. It's not like it's close to.
We have to walk into the
Okay, some distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some distance. Yeah.
I'd say it's about approximately 2.5 football field lengths.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want you to do me a favor when you go back.
Yeah.
Get two watches, 2 clocks, 2 whatever.
Yeah.
Some similar. Sync them.
Okay.
Sync them to the time. Leave one in the car and take one in with you.
Okay.
And leave it there for the duration of your visit.
Okay.
At the end of the day or at the end of the night or whenever you're done, bring that back and compare the 2 times.
Absolutely.
And let me know if there's any change at all. We have to, unfortunately, one battery might be better than the other battery or stuff like that. So, but over time, or more watches or clocks, we can start getting better data.
Yeah.
But I want to see what you observe, if there's any change at all, because I'm finding there is in some cases, not all cases, which I can't explain, but in some cases there's a difference.
Yeah.
We're finding not a great deal of time. I'm not talking hours, but I'm talking a couple of minutes plus some seconds. So, but how do you explain that? And,
exactly.
So is it a time slip? So are we time traveling? Are these events happening in real time whenever they happened in the 40s, the 50s, whatever, and we're 2021? So there's that shift. There's that time shift. It doesn't sync. It can't sync. So, until we get all the data, we can speculate a lot of things. But yeah, try that and see how it works.
Yeah, definitely. It's anything that we could do to sort of explain what's going on. Because let me tell you, it's pretty fucked up. It really is. It is. It
I'm
is.
intrigued. Like I said, I'm intrigued. I love the idea, and yeah, I can't wait to see what you got, and watch the trailer for it.
Yeah, I'll send you the. I'll send you the. Well, it's here on this on the YouTube channel here.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go on our YouTube channel. It's on there.
Yeah, you can watch them on the YouTube channel here. I'll send you the link anyways, direct link.
Okay,
so you
perfect.
Can watch them. Yeah, it's right. But anyways, the question I wanted to ask you, because you were talking about your one of the scripts that you sent in to books proposals to look into, the demon bit, and tell me your thoughts about the interaction or coexistence of, say, the spirit world and demons. How do they sort of thread together? What's their coexistent and or interaction, if any? I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, like I said, I've only had two experiences, and they were completely different, completely opposite ends of the spectrum. Like I said, this particular one had no interest in us, that I could tell. It didn't care. We could come or go. It didn't matter. Mm-hmm. But like I said, it's for some reason it seems to be collecting the dead. It's building a trap for them. So okay. I don't understand why. I don't get it. I can't fathom it. I mean, if we sat here and talked about it long enough, I could maybe speculate something about it. Mm-hmm. How accurate that would be, I don't know.
Yeah.
The other one was more hell-bent, the only words I can come up with, on the family. It seemed to be there specifically for the family to destroy that family unit. And I only got involved because another team that was working on this asked me if I wanted to come in and have a look, which I did. I said, sure, that'd be great. I'll go. And we went out there, and it just looked like a typical haunting. Things moving around, shadows and noises. I didn't think anything of it. I said, it looks like a typical haunting. And it was the second visit that changed my mind. Things got out of hand. It eventually destroyed the team, wiped out the family. Both of the parents are deceased. The kids are messed up. They lost everything. And I was fairly badly injured with this thing.
Yeah.
Come to my house, it chased me down all over the place to make my life quite terrifying, actually. And I even went to, I was almost in a panic. It got to that point, and I don't panic easily. But this thing was just driving me crazy. And I was driving down the street, and I was passing a church. I don't even know what denomination this church was. I just saw this big sign on the lawn. It says, "Who's going to save you?" And I pulled over, and I went inside, and I talked to the pastor, I guess, and I explained what was happening, and he agreed that I needed to speak with somebody that knew something about this.
Yeah.
So he was going to put me in contact, and so I thanked him, and I had it out. I felt a little bit better. There's some light at the end of the tunnel. And so I felt a bit better, and then that morning I got up and I walked to the store, bought a pack of smokes and a newspaper, and right in the front page of the newspaper, the guy burnt the church down. This was one of the oldest churches in the area. This guy had served that church for 30 years. And coincidence that I visited him, we talked about this, and the next thing you know, he'd burnt the whole place to the ground. But the funny thing is, the church, the people that ran that church, they didn't want it. They didn't want it back. They didn't want to rebuild. They donated the property and left. And they were going to charge him with arson, but the church said no, and they hid him away. They moved him, and they refused to comply. So something went on.
This is a church in Toronto, is it not?
Etobicoke.
Right. I remember reading vaguely about this. That's pretty interesting how that happened. Like, obviously, it only talked about the church burning down. It didn't get into details, but yeah, I remember. I think you related this story also once, and I looked into it, and kind of said, "Oh, this is pretty freaky," right? Because how does that happen? Like the day after you go?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they say there's good and bad, but the good people lost. We had our asses handed to us. There was no intervention from the good people. Nobody. That family was decimated, and and that church was lost, and the other things that went on. It's a story I just can't write. It's one that should be written, but it's I think it's too close for me. There's a lot of loss, so it's just a story I just never got to write.
Yeah, it's intriguing how situations like that just make you really think about things overall in terms of how we look at the paranormal as a whole, and how we sort of approach it. Richard, your approach would be different than say Alex's, and how it would be mine, and these are the sort of things that sort of build that sort of and alter that approach, and one thing I always find is very vital, very important is to and I know you've had this sort of problem too in your sort of travels, Richard, resistance with people wanting to sort of share anything.
Yeah.
And collaborate, and I can't understand that. I just don't understand. I don't talk about paranormal unity. I fucking hate that word.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't see the problem with collaborating with people who might know a little bit more than you do, or have some stuff to offer that you are looking for, and likewise.
Yeah.
It baffles my mind that people are like that, and that sort of resistance will obviously stop anyone from sort of gaining any ground into understanding this thing as a whole.
It does. It's frustrating, and but I look to I've been starting probably just slowly, looking for people, like-minded people that have demonstrated a deep interest and a professional outlook, and making those connections, such as your team, yourself and your team. There's a few other teams out there that I've reached out to. And I want to pull in a professional association with people that demonstrate. And I can't do it with, hey, Joe just started a team 2 years ago. He hasn't been around long enough. He doesn't know enough. He might tell you he knows everything about everything, but it's not gonna serve the purpose we're looking at.
Let's face it, that's always going to be there too, unfortunately.
Right. But I good or bad, I can't help myself. I have to skim over that and move on. So I'm looking for people that are established, that show that they're professional. They have the wherewithal to ride this out. They've been doing good work, and in a professional way. And I want to pull these teams together and put an association together where we can collaborate, share information. Theories that I develop where we can test them. Put that out there where you guys can take it out in the field, if you desire to do so, and test those theories and see what you get. If we start getting similar data, well, isn't that science?
Well, yeah. Peer reviewed. Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Can we elect Alex as the collector?
Oh.
No, I'm gonna be the one that says you're full of shit.
Yeah.
That's fine.
No, that's a great idea. I absolutely love that idea, Richard. That's a great idea.
But it takes time because you need to learn about these people. You need to observe. You got to make sure that you don't want to bring somebody into the team that's going to be an asshat. Sorry to say that word, but it's just going to take information and do ridiculous things with it. And I
think we just had a time slip with Richard there. Did you get that?
Yeah, I saw that.
You were like you went into slow mo there for a second.
Oh yeah. That's my that's about as tech as I can get. Sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish off. Sorry, I just had.
But yeah, that's one of my goals. Is I'd like to do that, but it takes time. You have to observe what people are doing. It's unfortunate we can't see everything. Yeah. Because there's really good teams out there that I would love to know and eventually bring into a fold like that. Mm-hmm. But you can't know everybody. You can't know everything. It's impossible. So as I start doing this, mm-hmm. You may know somebody, right? One of the other team leaders might know somebody. So it'll grow. Mm-hmm. It'll grow, and then we set standards, code of conducts. Things like that, things that we can all collaborate on and agree upon. Mm-hmm. And, nobody's in charge. There should be nobody in charge. We're just a group of like-minded people that work together and share information. And it becomes a professional association.
Okay,
and
scenario.
In 100 years from now, it'll be recognized as something.
Scenario for you. A group approaches you. Mm-hmm. And Richard, I want to be a part of this. I got some great evidence. Here you go. Here's my YouTube channel.
Okay. Yeah.
And the first video you watch, they're in some house basement, and they're going, I feel a very malevolent presence here. There's something very demonic in this house. And, what do you say? What do you say? Can I be a part of your team?
No. No, I'm going to say no. I understand. I'm in this industry. I work in the field, and I understand. Incredible claims require credible evidence. Mm-hmm. And I agree with that. I make claims, but I provide the best evidence that I possibly can. I do have some incredible evidence that people have never seen. You've seen some, mm-hmm. but I've got some stuff that I've got a film that's still classified. I can't show it yet. Right? Time, I gotta wait. I think it's another 6 months, and then maybe we can look at it. But you guys saw the wall?
Yeah.
Fantastic evidence. I've had experts look at that. I think you guys Alex saw it as well.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to have a couple movie directors look at it. Mm-hmm. And they were blown away. They were seeing stuff I didn't even see in it. And they were explaining to me how it couldn't be faked.
Really?
So yeah, because some of the, if you remember the hall, there was a chair at the end of the hall,
Yeah.
and when the portal opened up on the wall, I didn't even notice it. He noticed it. He says it was outlined in black. So not only did it open, but there was a complete outline of it on the wall in black. And the other thing he said is it's so bright. I mean, you remember how brilliant it was, a gold light, how
Yeah.
brilliant it was. He said the floors were urethaned and didn't reflect the light at all. There was no reflection of that brilliant light. It was so bright, but it wasn't reflecting on anything. There was no reflection of it, which I didn't notice either. So the more and more people look at it, the more information we gain.
That's pretty intriguing. Yeah, it's there's so much that when you say things that people see, or evidence, if you will, and that's the scary part. People come forward and say that they have evidence of the paranormal.
Mhm.
And let me just point out, don't ever join groups on Facebook.
I
Oh my God.
I do.
I have a hard time with keeping my mouth shut. I really do, Richard. And and that's my problem. I just, I was a part of one group, and it just baffled my mind when somebody would say, look, I've got proof of the paranormal.
Yeah.
People just have a problem being criticized.
Yeah.
Scrutinized.
Yeah, they do. And I don't join those groups to
I know. I should keep
criticize.
I should.
Once in a while, I might give them some pointers.
Yeah.
I don't criticize them. I let them do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just observe. I'm an observer in life. I want to see what's going on, who's talking about what.
Yeah.
If I can give some pointers, I'll give them some pointers.
Yeah.
If they think, that dust bunny in the corner is a demonic spirit, you know what? Hey, have at her. No, I'm looking at real evidence, and this book, this manuscript that's sitting on this guy's desk.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best incredible, and this is what I say: how much proof is enough?
Yeah.
There's evidence in this book, beyond the photographs, beyond all that stuff, that I can't dispute. And I'll give you a great example. So we usually work in stages.
Yeah.
So the house is, we were invited to do the house. We come in, we set up audio, video surveillance, do all kinds of work. We got an EVP from two spirit individuals, one an old lady and one a young boy. The young boy goes, Miriam, they're all alive.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, thank you, dear. So interesting, but the most interesting thing was the name, Miriam. So down the road, once we establish a baseline and we've got some information, then we bring mediums in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all my mediums I test.
Yeah.
So when you bring a medium in and they say, okay, this or that or whatever. But this particular medium came in and said, there's an old woman here. Her name's Miriam. That sort of blew me away. But is it evidence? No. It's circumstantial at best, but it's interesting. Because we have an EVP, Miriam, and then a couple months later, we have a confirmation that this Miriam is there through the medium. So, like I said, that's circumstantial at best. Fast forward a couple months, and we're talking to the property owner.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, oh, I don't know if you guys would be interested, but when we did some renovations and we moved that a particular wall on the second floor, it was insulated with some old newspapers and magazines and stuff. That's the way they used to do it back in the day.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I love old stuff like that. Sure, I'd love to look through it. So she brought us down. There was a couple of big boxes there with all this stuff in there, and we were going through it. And we found a couple of different church magazines with the mailing labels from 1905 with the woman that owned the house was named Miriam. So there's 3 different pieces of information that came together over several months that all indicated that this woman was there. She lived in the house. She was an owner of the house. We got her on EVP. We got a confirmation through a medium, and now we have the labels on these magazines that indicate that she existed. I mean, how much evidence is enough evidence?
And if you want to further that, how do we know it's evidence? I mean, that's the thing. I mean, based on our understanding of the paranormal, isn't it more evidence through theory, or how do we know it's evidence?
Well, the corroboration. I mean, we've got her talking, her voice on tape, talking about her name. This is her name, right? The other spirit used her name. So, and then she replied, which indicates that she's there. And then we have a medium making contact with her, and then we have these magazines that come out of a renovated wall that have her name on them. Plus, she used to own the place. So, how much more evidence is there? How much do you? What is evidence, and how much do you need?
Well, I mean, it's not so much what I need, but I mean, like, when you look at anything when it comes to the paranormal, and when somebody says, I have evidence, I mean, how do we base that evidence? Why not call it findings rather than evidence? Like, how do we know it's evidence?
Well, see, I can't. I put it as evidence because that's my background. I'm a trained investigator. I worked in law and security for 37 years. So I look at evidence-based information.
Okay.
If I were to take those pieces of information to a court of law, I could have you convicted tomorrow. But if I say, wait a minute, it has something to do with a ghost, all of a sudden it falls apart and it's worth nothing. How do you figure into that?
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Got you. Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
I spent a lot of time in court giving a testimony and looking at evidence. So I have to base it on that, right? If that's what's acceptable within our society in a court of law or in any legal text, I have to base stuff on that. I can't change the whole world and say, well, hold on a minute, we have to change the entire rules because we're dealing with this paranormal. How's that figure?
True. Oh man. Well, we're almost done here, guys. Holy shit! It's almost 10:30 already.
I didn't even think we were going to be on this long, to be honest with you.
I know. Well, hey, this when things go, they go.
Yeah.
Richard, throw out all your info there for all the viewers tonight.
Yeah, anybody who wants to speak to me, you can get through my website, thesearchergroup.ca, or richard@thesearchergroup.ca is my email. You can find me on Facebook.
And don't forget, you also your new thing. You offer Skype exorcisms.
No. That's one thing I don't offer. That's not. I don't want to even get involved with that stuff.
Yeah.
No, thank you. No.
Uh,
Just have some Pepto and call me in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh my God! What's that pink shit coming out of his mouth? This guy really is he's a demonic. He's possessed. Oh God. Richard, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, buddy. So good to see you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go back and see if that was recordings. Find out what the heck was in Alex's chair when Alex wasn't there.
Yeah.
There you go. And I'll send you links there so you can check out the trailers and stuff too.
Yeah, I really want to check that out, man.
All right.
All right, buddy.
All right. Take care, Richard.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Take care. See you.
See you.